Good evening, explorers, and welcome to the range, where we're going to be breaking down various weapons, tools, and mechanics of the game's sandbox. Today, we're looking at the game's weapon attachments. There are quite a few types of ways you can customize your weaponry in-game, from suppressors to help you keep a low profile, to optics to assist in your aim, and more. Today, we're going to cover them all. Let's start off with a handful of suppressors on offer. Suppressors as a concept go all the way back to the late 1800s. To give a shorthand explanation of how it works, when a gun is fired, it uses propellant gases to push the projectile out of the barrel. When the bullet leaves the barrel, gas follows behind it and is released all at once. This rapid release of gas is very loud. A suppressor essentially just slows the release of the gas. Suppressors achieve this in a variety of ways depending on the model, but the most common is by having these little side chambers or baffles that essentially catch the gas as the bullet travels through. This makes the path for the gas to escape both more complex and gives it some extra room to expand, thus reducing its pressure. Technically, the first ever suppressor was patented by a Swiss inventor by the name of Jacob Stahl. Here's the patent. I'm not sure about you guys, but when I think of the world's first suppressor, this image isn't exactly what comes to mind, but you know. If you're wondering where the hell the suppressor is, it's here, marked with an E. I'm not sure how effective this would be, but technically, yes, this would slow the release of the gas. Also, in case you're wondering, yes, to fire this, you just smack it with a hammer. However, the first suppressors, as we know them, didn't come till around in 1902 with the Maxim suppressor. Not this Maxim, mind you, but his son Percy Maxim. Even though suppressors had a surprisingly early inception, it wasn't until World War II until they started to see more common use, notably with the high standard HDM, Welrod, and Delisle carbine. Moving out of the game, we have 4 suppressors on offer. First up is the pistol suppressor. It has a weight of 0.25 kilograms, a durability of 237 shots, a cost of $650, and is unlocked at security level 2. The only hard numbers I could acquire for noise reduction was from this 2.5 datasheet by Reddit user Kurorai. Kurorai? Yeah, that sounds about right. Link to the original post in the description. However, judging by these numbers, I'm assuming that this equates to roughly a 40% noise reduction, which is very significant. This can be applied to most pistols and submachine guns, including the Makarov, GSH-18, OC-33, PP-91, PP-2000, G-17 and 18, M9, MP5, and Tokarev. Bear in mind, these will need the suppressor adapter upgrade to use. Next up is the PBS-1. Designed in the 1960s for Soviet use, specifically with Spetsnaz forces. In-game, it has a weight of 0.25 kilograms, a durability of 237 shots, a cost of $1,000, and is unlocked at security level 3. It has a noise reduction of 30% and is used with all of your AK variants, including the AKM, 74, 74M, 74U, and OC-14. Next comes the DTK suppressor. In-game, it has a weight of 0.25 kilograms, a durability of 300 shots, a cost of $1,000, and is unlocked at security level 3. It has a noise reduction of 30% and is used with the SKS, Mosin, and Tiger rifle. Last up is the NATO suppressor. In-game, it has a weight of 0.3 kilograms, a durability of 300 shots, a cost of $1,000, and is unlocked at security level 3. It has a noise reduction of 40% and is used with the AUG, SCAR, FAL, and M4. Overall, it's never not useful to be using a suppressor, as it really helps with managing enemies, especially in later zones. Moving on to our next category of the optics. They come in many shapes and sizes, from holographic dots with wide apertures for fast target acquisition, to high magnification scopes for long-range precision. The game has quite a few selections on offer, to suit many ranges and styles of play. Starting with our non-magnifying optics, we have the Cobra D. It is based on the Cobra, with a K, EKP8, made by Axion. In-game, it has a weight of 0.25 kilograms, a cost of $1,800, and has no magnification. It can be mounted on anything with an AK dovetail style mount. This includes all AKs, the Saiga 12, Tiger rifle, Val, and Ventores. During testing, I noticed that certain optics have inconsistencies in their accuracy, so I decided to test them all. I found that at a range of 50 meters, the Cobra hits relatively high, and is exaggerated at even further distances. I did multiple tests with multiple guns to ensure a consistent result. Just something to bear in mind when choosing an optic. Next up is the Viper B. In-game it has a weight of 0.2 kilograms, a cost of 1800, and has no magnification. It is a Picatinny or B-rail mounted optic, and thus can be used with nearly anything besides handguns, with the Deagle being the only exception. As you can see here, it still hits a bit high like the Cobra, however it seems a little less severe. Moving on, we have the PK06. In-game it has a weight of 0.15 kilograms, a cost of 1700, and has no magnification. Like the Viper B, it is B-rail mounted. This one, however, is a bit more interesting. While the Cobra and Viper have a tendency to hit a bit high, they still stayed relatively centered. With this, however, it has a tendency to hit high and to the right, so bear that in mind if you're planning on using this. Up next is the OKP7. In-game it has a weight of 0.15 kilograms, a cost of 1850, and has no magnification. This is another B-rail optic. As you can see, this one has the opposite issue as the PK06, having a tendency to hit high, but to the left. Moving on to the next one, the EOPS. Finally, something I recognize. This is essentially an EOTech holographic sight. So what's the difference between a holographic and red dot anyway? It took me a while to wrap my head around it, but here it is as best as I can. With red dots, it's pretty simple. An LED light shines on a reflective piece of glass that goes directly back to the shooter's eye. With holographics, it uses a series of mirrors and lasers to project a holographic image. This has a few benefits, like wider field of view, more precise reticles, and better magnification capability. Holos also have the effect of superimposing the reticle onto the target. It's kind of hard to explain, but when you're using a red dot, your eye can't really focus on the reticle and the target at the same time. It's only one or the other. While with a holographic, the reticle and target are in focus at the same time. At least, that's the best way I can explain it. Personally, I use an EOTech and I can say firsthand that I prefer them over red dots, but my experience with red dots is also somewhat limited, so. There's also a bit more nuance to it, red dots having merits of their own, but I'm not going to open that can of worms right now. In-game it has a weight of 0.15 kilograms, a cost of 1900, and no magnification. It is a B-rail mounted optic and has a pretty good accuracy profile. Just as good, if not better than the Viper P. Personally, this is my preferred non-magnified optic. Finishing off the non-magnifying optics, we have the Viper P. It has a weight of 0.2 kilograms, a cost of 1150, and is compatible with all the game's pistols minus the Deagle. It has a similar accuracy profile to the Viper B. Regardless of what sidearm you're running, this will help make your aim both more accurate and faster. Moving on to our magnifying optics, first up is the Spectre 4XP. This is based on the Elcan Spectre, a very economic variable zoom optic. I've heard everything about these, from them being the pinnacle of optics technology to a good but ridiculously overpriced product. In any case, considering these cost about as much as I paid for my car, I will probably never get to formulate an opinion on one. In-game it has a weight of 0.3 kilograms, a cost of 2500, and a zoom level of 1 to 4 times magnification. You can switch between them via a little lever on the left side. This is a B-rail mounted optic, and as you can see, it is highly accurate, hitting dead on pretty much regardless of what gun I was using. Overall, this is a great and versatile optic, maybe my favorite. Next up is the PU scope. This Soviet-made scope was designed all the way back in 1940 and was originally intended for use on the SVT-40. However, select modes in the Gaunt rifles were modified to accept the PU starting in 1942. In-game it has a weight of 1 kilogram, a cost of 1400, and a magnification of 3.5 times. It is only compatible with the Mosin and SKS. This scope is unsurprisingly dead on with its accuracy without any unexpected deviations. This is also where we start to see some built-in stabilization. Higher magnification optics have this to assist with precise aiming. The PU scope definitely has it, but to a lesser degree than the final two. Moving on, we have the PSO-1D, an optic of Russian origin designed in the 1960s to go along with the SVD. In-game it has a weight of 0.25 kilograms, a cost of 2500, and a magnification of 4 times. It is a dovetail mounted sight, and as such it is compatible with all AKs, the Saiga 12, Ventores, Valve, and of course the Tiger. This optic, like the PU, is basically dead on in the accuracy department. The main draw of these higher magnification scopes, however, is the sheer amount of stabilization you receive, especially on a breath hold. This function makes it almost hard to miss. It's a great addition to any rifle you incorporate it into. Also, as cool as it would be to manually range targets with the reticle, you can't really do that in ITR. Even if the bullet drop and proportions are correct, the game just doesn't have enough render distance to put it to use. Finally, we have the 7-35 by 56mm B. It has a weight of 1.113 kilograms, a cost of $3,500, and a variable magnification of, as the name suggests, 7 to 35 times. This is pretty insane, and also completely overkill. Also, this is the only optic that's unlocked at security level 4. Everything else is unlocked at security level 3. It is a B-rail mounted optic, so basically it can go on anything given the correct upgrades. As you may expect, this is, again, extremely accurate with no unexpected deviation. To change the magnification, just turn the dial toward the rear of the scope. It gives similar stabilization to the PSO-1, which is very good. Overall, I think this thing is overkill in most situations. That being said, it's still fantastic, if a rather pricey option. This, however, works great with the DVL, unsurprisingly. So just a quick overview. With red dots and holographics, you get faster target acquisition, wider FOV, outstanding CQB capability, and higher performance in low light conditions. With scopes, you get basically aim assist, increased range, and significantly better accuracy, with the Spectre landing somewhere in between. Personally, if you're going with a dot, I would recommend either the Viper B or EOPS, as those seem to be the most accurate. I personally favor the EOPS for its slightly more precise reticle. The scopes, as good as they are at range, are difficult to use up close. However, this weakness can be mitigated with these next few attachments. Moving on to the lasers, we have two. The Laser Pointer S and Laser Pointer B. I'm just going to refer to them as LPS and LPB respectively. The LPS is a weight of 0.1 kilograms, a cost of $750, and is unlocked at security level 2. It is compatible with all pistols and submachine guns with the appropriate upgrades. Pretty self-explanatory here. Point the laser at something, that's where the shot will go. Really only useful in CQB though, as the lasers become more difficult to see the further they go out. Moving on to the LPB, it has a weight of 0.1 kilograms, a cost of $1,600, and is unlocked at security level 3. It is B-rail mounted and is compatible with all rifles and shotguns with the appropriate upgrade. This can mitigate the close range weakness of the higher magnification optics. The laser also appears to be slightly more visible than the LPS. Finally, we have our final two attachments, the flashlights. Like the lasers, there are two of them, the Weapon Flashlight S and Weapon Flashlight B. I'm just going to lay out the stats here and then give you a side-by-side comparison of the two. The WFS has a weight of 0.1 kilograms, a cost of $550, and is unlocked at security level 2. It is S-rail mounted and will be compatible with all pistols and submachine guns. The WFB has a weight of 0.1 kilograms, a cost of $1,200, and is unlocked at security level 3. It is a B-rail mounted sight, so it is compatible with pretty much any rifle or shotgun with the appropriate upgrades. Now let's look at the side-by-side comparison. As you can see, the range of the WFB is far greater, but in a more narrow cone. However, even though the WFS has a more generous cone of light, the range is pitiful. It's literally the worst in the game, even behind the headlamp, making this thing pretty useless. The WFB, however, has the range of the handheld flashlight, making it much more useful for targeting during nighttime conditions. As someone who has been forced into undertaking more nighttime excursions lately, I have a newfound appreciation for this thing. And that about covers the game's weapon attachments. The grenade launcher was covered in my previous video if you're interested in that. Overall, I think the game has a satisfying amount of potential options available, especially with the wide selection of optics. I hope you found this video helpful. Next up should be the armor. Until next time, explorers.